so I was working for all those places with Rob, and it was it was nice. It was flexible.
Yeah.
The pay was shit. It wasn't a lot of pay.
Yeah.
But the relationships I was building was great.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, so one reason I wanted to podcast with you, because I've been trying to link up with you for the longest.
Yeah.
Because I was going to Japan a lot. I was going to Portugal a lot. And so my job was just to find outside DJs, talent that was coming in. And remember when Roland brought us you, and
Roland from brought me where?
To Playhouse.
That was Roland?
Roland he brought it to the table. He was like,
through Sujit?
Yeah, he was like, I know this DJ, and he was a scam artist DJ.
Yeah.
And that connection.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that was Roland.
That was Roland. Roland made that happen. He pushed for it, too.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken, I think we only paid you about $250, a couple hundred.
No, it was 500. It was opening set. Yeah.
It was an opening set.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot. And then, so once I looked into it, because it was Molly and myself that kind of made the direction. If I gave a nod, she made it official.
Yeah.
And what I liked was that you even did it. That for it to come in. And so what you did then inspired me to go global.
As in I did the gig, you mean?
You did the gig.
Yeah, I mean, why would I say no?
A lot of DJs that I know, even personally, won't take that money.
Yeah, but bro, you got to think, out in LA, who am I?
Nobody. No, you're right. But but it's still a mindset to have.
Yeah. I mean, if it was London and someone said to me, "Hey man, you want to do an opening set?"
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Not really," But it's really depends. You know what I mean?
It's interesting because working in that, I know there's a lot of guys wouldn't have taken that.
Yeah, but let's say a lot of those guys in LA are like made guys though. So
not necessarily from LA. They may be from like Atlanta, or
right,
different market, still trying to get into the LA market.
Right.
And it takes a certain mentality to come in and say, "Well, I'm just gonna come play, rock it, and I'm gonna come back." Like that's the formula.
Right.
It's easy, because LA is like a tricky place.
Yeah,
you don't know what crowd you're gonna get per night.
Yeah, I know LA pretty well.
Yeah.
I know LA very well.
You're out there a lot. You're spending a lot in there, and it's like to see that. And I'm gonna get to those questions later, because it's like to transition to DJ in LA, in Vegas, Miami, and then here, that's different sounds.
Yeah, of course,
all over. So to be able to have that confidence to come in, drop a playlist, play, and people actually are rocking, like that takes talent. It takes you to be in your craft to be able to do that.
I appreciate that, bro.
I always loved the DJ craft. So I wanted to do this podcast. We're an entrepreneur enthusiast. My podcast started on my journey with me just going out and meeting entrepreneurs, DJs, business owners in different countries.
I like that.
And I took the motto of, let me just go out there and meet people.
Yeah,
of course. I saw what you were doing and knew a little bit about that. And I was like, he's doing it on a DJ level. Like, it makes sense. So that inspired me to take my company, I would say, global.
Dope.
And go with that same approach where I would go to different DJs, spin at their clubs, like pay for the table, whatever I ought to do, get to know them, and then get to know the city.
Yeah,
I would find marketing clients with that.
That's smart.
So right before the pandemic, I closed my first crazy. I was in Miami, and I flew from Miami because the Super Bowl's in Miami.
Right.
I flew from Miami straight to Tokyo, and I closed my first international marketing deal.
Dope. Congrats, man.
I came back, and then the world shut down.
Oh, shit.
And then Playhouse closed.
Yeah.
So that's why, and my wife had already was getting me on my head, like, you got to get out of there. The nightlife ain't the same anymore. It's I kind of hit the glass ceiling. And she was like,
you did it at the right time, man.
The perfect time.
You did it at the right time, bro. Time is everything.
Yeah.
So
the perfect time. And so, COVID changed a lot because everything shut down. Over there. How did it affect you?
Hugely, bro. I wasn't making any money. I wasn't DJing. I wasn't being creative in that part of my life, However, I probably benefited in other ways from being in the studio every day making music. So,
I saw that. So I saw you getting into producing, and let's bring it back to the childhood. I got some research. I know you on your West Coast rap.
Yeah.
How did you find West Coast rap? Like, what was like the first album you were introduced to?
The first album I ever heard, hip hop album. Wow. Would have been strictly for my Tupac. I'm not going to say the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mine was...
And the 7 Day Theory as well. I think Tupac's early stuff and NWA was the earliest stuff I'd heard. Yeah.
Me growing up in that, my parents like cut up those CDs.
Right.
It's like I'm growing up in that and seeing that. So,
you're in LA though, right?
I was born.
Yeah, but I mean, for you, it makes sense, you know?
Yeah. And
I'm a brown boy from the UK.
Yeah.
You know, so it was alien to us.
So did it find you, or did you seek for it?
I grew up, and when I was a kid, my parents owned a convenience store, right? And in that convenience store, they sold LPs, singles, records as well. And so after school every day, I would play a different LP, a different single on my dad's, the stacks, hi-fis, and then you get the turntable at the top.
Yep.
So from the age of 7, 8, I'm playing different songs every single day from all these artists. I'm thinking, who's this? Who's NWA? Who's, and I'm thinking, why have they got these LPs in the store? I don't even think my parents knew what they were, but they had all the Michael Jackson stuff, right? And so I was collecting records from a very young age. And so my mom had all of these Bollywood movies and all these Bollywood LPs and stuff. And so I had the most random stuff. And then I think I must have seen something from Michael Jackson, which I knew about. Obviously I was into Michael Jackson real young, but
Jackson had them hits.
Nah, of course. But I think I had his LP, the Bad LP, and so I was just playing that every single day, and naturally it came through just learning more about music, buying magazines, hearing DJ Jazzy Jeff scratching and wondering what he's doing.
You got to hear him live?
Yeah, of course. Dope, he's incredible.
His transitions are like crazy.
He's the god, man.
Yeah,
he's the god.
I was blessed to hear him at a Afro Tech conference.
Yeah.
Right before the pandemic, I was like, "Yo, this dude is dope." The way he brought it in from the beginning to the end, not just song to song, from the beginning of the set to the end was like, I've never heard anybody, rock like of course. That was pretty cool.
He was like the first DJ I ever heard.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I got into DJing, I'd say, through that. I was collecting LPs, collecting singles, and the first type of hip-hop that I got into was West Coast rap.
Got it.
And then, at the same time with New York rap as well, but, New York came before West Coast.
Yep. And it was beef.
Yeah. So I probably, started listening to it at that time.
Yeah, I was like 93, 94. Yeah, that's like right when that beef happened. So in that transition, you're saying you want to be a DJ. You started DJing at 18?
No, I started DJing at 14. 13, 14.
So you're still in your parents' house DJing.
Yeah, still in school.
Still in school, and now they don't know what's going on. They probably don't even understand what they're saying in there.
But look, just to go back though, I didn't start off saying I wanted to be a DJ.
Yeah.
I started off saying I wanted to be a producer.
Got it.
And DJ. So the producer and DJ thing was very synonymous.
Yeah.
So,
what producer DJs were you listening to?
Dre.
Yeah, Dre was
Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
Quincy Jones. I studied every single liner note on every single Michael Jackson album.
Yeah.
Up until obviously Dangerous when he switched and went to Teddy Riley and stuff. But at that point, Quincy Jones, and then everything Dr. Dre touched. I liked all the Premier stuff. As I got a little bit older, I was getting into more of the Pharrell Neptune stuff in the mid-90s, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was Dre that got me into that bug.
DJ Premier, he was my college Prairie View. He's from that town.
Oh, crazy!
Smallest town in Texas, and I didn't even know it until I got there. It's like, wow, he's from this area.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And he's influenced a lot of people. So then, what was your? I was gonna do top 5 rappers.
Yeah, we could do it, bro.
Top 5 West Coast rappers.
West Coast.
Let's stick to West Coast.
Number 1, Pac.
Yep.
Number 2, who's my second favorite West Coast rapper? Snoop.
Yep. No Limit Snoop or
nah.
Before
Death Row Snoop. Yeah, it was a different vibe. No Limit Snoop.
Yeah.
Death Row Snoop. I loved Corrupt.
Corrupt Young Gotti.
Yeah, I bumped into him recently. I'll tell you that. I'll get into that.
Yeah.
More recently, Kendrick.
Yeah.
It's a tough one for West Coast because there's so many. I like E40 as well.
Yeah.
You know, I have to shout the Bay out. I like Too Short.
Billy Bonte, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's a few of them, but Pac is number one.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
But then I've got a broad favorite for hip hop.
What's the broad favorite?
So Pac still number one.
Yeah.
Number two for me, Jay-Z.
Okay.
Number three, Eminem.
Yep.
4, Nas.
Yep.
And 5, Biggie.
Okay.
Yeah, and then extends onto, you know, your Rakims and your Method Mans and Kendrick's around there too.
It's interesting you name Corrupt because a lot of people don't know about Corrupt.
Yeah, DPG and that,
DPG, Corrupt, Daz Dillinger, and Corrupt's influence on Kendrick.
Yeah, of course. Even MC8 as well.
Corrupt got messed up in that bad deal.
Yeah.
Like right when Death Row was kind of going out.
Yep.
Like we never really got to hear Corrupt.
He was dope with these punchlines and stuff. That Corrupt. Yeah. Bro, the crazy thing is 2 weeks ago, I met him in the W Hotel in LA.
Oh, wow.
Right? It's the first time I've ever met him.
Yeah.
And he's in the lobby and I say to him, yo, I thought you were Corrupt for a second. And he's like, hey, cuz, I am Corrupt, right? And I'm like, yo, I'm a fan, bro. Like, I don't even fanboy like that, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, yo, I came up on West Coast rap, and he was like so surprised to see that a British person had met all of the greats. Mm-hmm. Like I'd met Suge and I'd have a photo with Suge at the age of like 21. Mm-hmm. And this guy just showed me bare love on his gram.
Yeah.
And so that was crazy.
Corrupt honestly is one of my favorite artists.
Yeah. I love Corrupt.
I really appreciate Corrupt, DPGC. Just from being an LA native, like that's the music I grew up on. And so I listen to Weak and Freaky all the time.
Yeah.
That's my jam. So that's dope that you said that. Shout out to Corrupt for that.
Of course.
You know, you were able to do that. And so you say you were able to meet your influences. You were able to meet those artists. Like who are some of the biggest influences you were able to meet?
In hip hop?
Yeah.
Dre. Mm-hmm. Dre's my biggest, I'd say. But Tupac's my favorite rapper.
Yeah.
But, you know, I can't really relate it to Tupac.
Yeah.
You know. Like, it's completely different worlds, different lives and stuff.
Yeah.
But Dre's still a producer. Mm-hmm. So I've still got some kind of... I can still relate to him in some kind of way. I can't rap for shit, so I can't relate to Pac. I just like his music and his artistry, right?
Yeah.
So, it was Dre that really... You know, the way that he created a sound, the way that he cultivated the entire West Coast, and it became a thing because it was all New York.
Yeah.
You know? And then LA came with Dre's sound. It's like, yo, we got something too.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you see Straight Outta Compton?
Yeah.
And how was your impact on that? Like, how'd you like that?
I love that movie.
It was a great movie.
I love the fact that Dre was very actively involved in guiding, I forgot what the actor's name is, but in terms of guiding him in terms of what happened. So I love that film.
I think they all were involved too.
Yeah. Cube and Ren and those guys,
That was pretty dope. In full circle, Q would be able to use his son.
Yeah, that's amazing as well. Yeah.
That was pretty dope for them to protect like, the California kind of lifestyle. Then at that time, you know, I learned so many things of how that music was influenced. I didn't realize it got around the world like that. You know?
Crazy.
At that time, without social media, without like TikTok and all that, like their music was around the world and people were hearing these voices and hearing these things, and it's amazing how you can do that. And like, so you go back to you're 14, you're starting. Are there any particular, I would say, experience and memories from your childhood that you say, this helped me propel to get over here?
DJing, I think, came about as an escape to start off. I was the only DJing in my entire school. Nobody knew what DJing was. And so for me, it was an escape because I feel like at school I was quiet and I wasn't doing just the typical shit most school kids are doing, you know, hanging on the corner and stuff and just hanging out with girls in the corner smoking. And I wasn't doing any of that, you know. I was just a timid, shy kid that just trying to find my own thing, right? So essentially, I've got into this DJ bug from seeing Jazzy Jeff and collecting these LPs and trying to figure out what to do with them. Someone puts me onto an opportunity with getting some belt drive turntables. I start messing around to the point where I actually start getting good at this thing. And that's where I start to think, yo, I can maybe turn this into something. But at that time, I didn't know that there was any kind of monetary attachment, that any kind of money that could be made from this. It was a hobby, you know? Whereas I knew you could make money from production because I knew all about Dre, right? I didn't know that much about DJs actually making money. I wasn't even allowed in the club, right? So over time, it's come to the point now, I'm now 16 years old, leave school, and I'm doing all the parties at my college, Students' Union, and they are paying me, as low as it is, like £20 a set. So that's something for me. And so, at the same time, I'm washing cars, you know.
And you taught there too?
Sorry?
Were you teaching at the school?
No. This is afterwards. Okay. Right. So, I'm at school, college, university.
Just going in on DJ. Are your parents first generation?
Yep.
So them coming here, how did they take you to that from a household? I know, like, even my parents, you had that, especially when you come from poverty. It's like, go to school, get your education, get a job, and be steady.
Yep, that's what it was. That's what they wanted me to do.
And so you just went this unsteady route.
Yeah, that's what it was, bro. Like I said, it was an escape for me, and I kind of rebelled in a way because I didn't really know my dad that well growing up, so I didn't get along with him, and so for me it was like, it was rebellion, and I was still a smart kid. I did well in school, and for me, I just decided this is what I'm gonna do, and at first my parents didn't know anything about it. They didn't really approve of me doing it at start. I don't blame them. They're Indian immigrants. They don't know. And so I don't blame them. But I think it was one of those where I'm the type of person that if I'm not into something, there's nothing that anyone can say or do to get me into it. That could be a girl or get me into a movie, or I'm just I'm very assertive on what I want,
what you want to do,
and what I like and what I don't like. And if I don't like it, there's nothing anyone can say to convince me otherwise.
It's interesting you said, my son's 3 right now, and my dad is similar. My dad is very like, education, get a job. Even when I was making money, he's like, go get a job. I'm like, dude, I'm building websites and software. I'm making a lot of money. Like, what are you talking about?
Cool.
I have a job. And so I look at my son now, and he like does his own thing. And all the time, his grandfather will come and like stop him. Like if he wants to slide down the stairs, he'll stop him. If he wants to climb something, he'll stop him. But now I see that, and I'm like, I don't want to be that for him. I want him to feel like I'm pushing him, and I'm going to let him fall and fail. And so that dynamic between fathers is interesting because it's like you are from them and they have this idea of who you're going to be, but you're really your own person. And
that's how they fall forward. So,
And so after a while, did your dad kind of come circle around?
Not for a while, man. I mean, I've got a sister. She lives in North Carolina, and she's been living there for 15 years. And at the time, it was difficult because we didn't really have much growing up, right? And so, to explain it in a bit more depth, it was like my sister wasn't doing too great, and so there was a lot of pressure on me to do good.
She's older?
5 years,
I got it.
And so there was a lot of pressure on me from aunties, uncles, my dad, to be some kind of academic, to get some kind of, to be that guy, so I felt that pressure was on me because my sister didn't become that.
Got it.
Not to say she isn't now, she's killing it now, right? But at the time, my sister followed a different path, and so a lot of pressure fell on me to do something that I didn't want to do. And as you just described with your son, you don't want to do that for your kid. You want to let him be him. And so for me, there was this no pun intended, friction between me and my dad, where I felt very much like he was forcing me to do something I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, at Rebellion, it pushed me more and more to do DJing. So if anything, full circle, it ended up becoming a blessing to the point where I had an opportunity. I'm from Birmingham, by the way. Yeah. So I'm not from London. I'm from Birmingham, which is 2 hours north of here. And I grew up there. And when I had the first opportunity to leave at the age of 18 to come to university, I applied in universities away from Birmingham so I could leave home. Yeah. Right? Yeah. London became an opportunity. However, it was a big blessing and a curse at the same time because I failed my college exams. And I failed them because I wasn't attending classes because I was staying in my room DJing. So it was like, I don't know how to explain it. It was like the thing that failed me made me a winner. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's what happened. My dad was hugely disappointed that I didn't do well enough to get into a top university to become that guy. But I did well enough to get into an okay university where I could become myself. And so that's essentially what happened. At the age of 18, went to university. And dude, I just literally I was DJing and I got into making beats. Like at the age of 16, 17, I was making beats in my room every single day. And that was like, I really feel like the making of the next era of my life. Yeah. You know?
Did you build a lot of relationships while you were in school?
In school?
Yeah. Like while you were at the university?
Oh, university, yeah. In school, like we finished school at 16 here. Well, and then we got to...
Yeah, we call it school, you know, throughout until we're finished.
Here, we got school from the age of 11 to 16. Okay. And then 16 to 18 is college. Okay. And 18 to 21 is university.
Got it.
So, so school finished at 16.
So ours is your school, well, your K through 12. And then if you want to go to...
I don't know what that is, bro.
Yeah, your first grade, second grade, third grade,
right.
up to 12th grade. Yeah. And then you go to either junior college, which I would say would be like your college phase, and then you go into a 4-year university. And so I went to a small university as well. I didn't have great grades in high school because I was just focused on throwing parties, meeting people, being social. Yeah. I knew if there was a class in being social, I would have passed. Yeah. Like I would have passed on networking.
I was an introvert though.
Got it.
I was an introvert, bro. So I was shy and timid.
So how does that impact just your mental being an introvert at the time, and transitioning to a career that you have to be extroverted?
Yeah, you have to be like
people come and touch you and they ask you questions.
I feel like it's something I had to naturally learn to do over time, you know. But I was awkward, bro. Like I was awkward.
Surprisingly, most DJs I know are actually introverted.
Yeah.
They like are in tune. They're in their self. They get in their own world. They're like, Joe, stand here and make sure no one talks to me.
I am like that. I don't like people talking to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's probably the most annoying thing to come up and have somebody, come and say, hey, can you play this for me? Can you do this for me? So it's like I get that part.
Yeah, I'm very much like, it's about the approach, the way in which you do something. I if you're respectful, I've got all the time in the world to, accommodate. But, university though, I did build some really good connections that set me up,
So being brown, being from a family that was first generation here and it had certain expectations for you, culturally, how did you adapt to then being a unique character kind of in your space?
Yeah. I feel like it's, that cliche saying that pressure creates diamonds, right? Yeah. So I was just under a lot of pressure. So being brown, a lot of people in our community have, they expect their kids to go into being doctors and pharmacists and these kind of fields, As you see, a lot of Indian people are doctors. A lot of doctors are Indian, A lot of pharmacists happen to be Indian. A lot of lawyers, same. So for me, I wasn't that guy. For me, I knew what I was good at, which is music, and I just stuck with it, And as I said, it came with a lot of hurdles of having to convince other people in my community that looked down on it. Like I still remember uncles and aunties in the early stages of my career saying there's no money in this and you can't do well in this. And, that's something I've never forgotten, but not in a bitter way. Yeah, I'm still got love for them.
But you saying you don't know if there was money in this and how, and them telling you that mentally, how did you then get over that hurdle to like get that first paying gig?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know I was going to make money. For me, I had the mentality that I'd rather figure out if there is money to be made by doing something I love rather than be guaranteed I'm going to be making money over something that I'm going to be bored over.
Yeah.
Because now I'm going to compromise the way that I move. I'm going to compromise my values and all of that. And I'm probably end up being stuck in the matrix. And that I figured that out like young, bro. I said, I was a really peculiar kid. I wasn't like, I didn't have loads of friends. And, you know, I had like one friend if I was lucky, you know? And so, you know, I always knew I was different in that way.
Yeah.
And so I felt, you know, look, if I love it that much, I'll figure out a way to make money from it.
Yeah. And what was that first big check that you considered was the first big check?
A big check. I remember I got £100 once for a gig.
Yeah.
And I was at university. And I thought I made it. and then I look back and I realized, shit, I ain't gonna do shit. But you know, if you compare it to me getting paid £7.50 an hour at the student union, you know, that to me was great. £7.50 an hour to do this, right? Because I used to wash cars for £2.85 an hour, right?
Wow.
So to me getting £2.85 an hour was like, yo, wow, I made £400 once in like 4 months.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, wow, right? I've never seen that level of money before.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting £7.50 an hour.
Amount of time too.
Yeah, exactly. So I was a grafter from young.
Yeah.
Right? As I said, we didn't really have much. And I was used to seeing my mom and dad like go through crazy hurdles just to make little money. You know, my dad used to weld metal. You know? And so
just hustling, making it.
Yeah. My dad, he was like doing 18-hour days, so.
You know, it's different when, you know, my dad comes from the generation of, my dad's 80 now. He comes from the generation of working hard.
Yeah.
And hard work is you going and trading your time for money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they don't teach you, like, that's going to get you in the matrix. They don't teach you. Like, I can trade my time for money other way.
Yeah.
You know, and it is interesting that when you fight that, people are against you for doing that. It's like, just because I don't want to live my life like this, you know, doesn't make me unhappy. It just makes me better at figuring out what I want to do.
Right.
You know, so how do you maintain a healthy work-life balance? You know, working so hard. I know you scaled back a little bit, but how did you maintain a kind of a healthy balance within that once it started picking up?
I mean, there was a point where I wasn't maintaining it, you know, which is why I had to step back. But I feel like there's certain things there's certain vices which I haven't given into in my life, which probably saved me a lot of time and probably stress. Like I never really drank, you know, I never really put a lot of focus on women, you know, and I kept focused on what I was trying to do.
Yep.
And I felt like me not engaging in any kind of substance or anything that's going to set me back or throw my balance off, it helped me kind of keep my mind like fresh in a way, you know? I feel as though that played a big part.
Being in the, and this is something I had to learn and overcome, because it got to a point where I started going out and I started drinking water, because at first I was drinking liquor, and then it's like, I feel like crap the next day. I don't want to, you know, do this, and I got to go do it again. So I started like fake drinking after a while. And no one really knew I was drinking. I would just sip on water.
Yeah.
And then my favorite one, I'm giving myself up here, was pineapple juice.
Okay.
I would just go get some pineapple juice on the rocks.
Yeah.
You know, and sip on that. And at first, I wasn't, and it took, my mom had got diagnosed with cancer, and I wanted to just be more focused and talk to her about it. So that was kind of the transition that helped me. But how did you stay on path in the world where there's liquor, free liquor, like an abundance of free liquor and women in the same place?
Look, bro, you know, a lot of things that we do as humans, as adults, is something that we get exposed to when we're kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I never got exposed to that when I was a kid. So, you know, it's kind of like, you know, when I was a kid, I wasn't around like chasing girls and stuff like that. I don't even think I was the popular kid in school that the girls wanted.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like I didn't really get that until later on in life.
Yeah.
When I was young, when I was 16, I never really drank because I was always in my room messing around with music.
Yeah.
Right? And I was making beats and stuff. So I was very much that kid that was very opposite to a lot of kids around me in school.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a bit of a loner in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like I've always had this weird thing where I've always done the opposite of what everyone else has done.
Yeah.
And not so much now in music because I'm around a lot of like-minded people.
Yep.
But growing up, I wasn't. I was the only one anomaly doing the thing I was doing.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was different anyway. So I ended up doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing.
You know, I speak to a lot of kids now, and the big word that gets to them is depression, because they're around people that aren't their tribe. They're around people that they have to be around.
Yeah.
You go to school with these people, you're in programs with these people, so these are you have to go to. And I always say, when you're older, you don't even have to talk to these people.
Yeah.
You can turn off the social battery and you don't have to do that. I'm trying to instill that in my daughter. She's so social right now. She always wants to talk and have friends. And so you learning that, a lot of people tend to go opposite, you know, and
with the crowd.
Yeah.
Being comfortable,
getting comfortable, conforming with what they're doing, staying on that path and not staying disciplined. So do you think your cultural upbringing has something to do with you being disciplined and in that mindset first? Because you had to have you've already brought discipline to the table.
Yeah. But I don't think my discipline came from like my dad or anything. Like my parents were good parents.
Yeah.
You know, they were quite strict, right? But I feel like, as I said, I rebelled against my dad.
Yeah.
So I didn't really listen to my dad much because we had our issues. I feel like the one thing that really is something that from my childhood which stuck with me for a long time was I had a cousin who was the exact same age as me, 4 months apart, and he's 4 months older than me.
Yeah.
And this cousin growing up, I was compared to him. So his mom and my mom are sisters, right? I was compared to this cousin in every aspect of my life.
Oh man.
Who's better looking? Who's stronger? Who's better at football?
Yeah.
Who's smarter? Yeah. Who gets all of that? Who had the trainers first? Who had the Sega first?
Yeah.
Every part of my life I was compared to this cousin, right? And so when you're a kid, you don't know how to do a comparison, so it affects your self-esteem, right? So for me, I'm trying to figure out, like, if he's coming out on top, what makes me unique, right? And so that is I feel like maybe a part of that is me doing the opposite and not trying to like get validation and be accepted that, I'm good at XYZ. It was more of a, all right, cool. It is what it is. Those are the circumstances. I don't win there. It's fine, right? But I'm just going to go live my life in a way where I know I do win and I can, have something where, for me, I'm acing that, right? And so the other things where I felt like I didn't come out on top, I naturally ended up getting them anyway through the course of life, from growing up. From being on my own in London for however many years, like, becoming a man on your own, because me and my dad, like, we haven't lived together in years, so that was a big thing for me that affected me growing up.
I call it the measuring stick. And I always tell people, don't measure your stick next to somebody else's stick, because it'll drive you crazy.
Yeah.
Like, now that the social media world we live in, like, everyone's looking at, like, oh my goodness, this person got this, I have to get this, or this person's doing this. And it's kind of messed up, because you're always measuring yourself against someone else.
Yeah.
And it's unnecessary. Like, it's unnecessary. And I feel like it, just recently, Rihanna performed at the Super Bowl, did dope. And I was talking to some people and they were like comparing her to Beyonce. I was like, no, why do we have to compare? They're both great.
Yeah.
They're both
two different people.
It
don't matter.
And we have this society that, like, there's always a number one.
Yeah.
I'm competitive. I get it.
Yeah.
There's always a number one. But there's nothing wrong with two number ones, one A, one B, one C.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be that. And so, how do you maintain your competitiveness in this field, and keep your relationships as you continue to grow?
Competitiveness is healthy competition, as you know, and it's something that I use as a way to elevate myself and not use it as a way to feel pity or feel bitter or feel any kind of hate towards anyone doing a similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
But for me, it's something that fuels me. You know, I like the thought of proving people wrong and being challenged in a way where I'm proving myself right.
Yeah, that was actually my next question. What challenges and setbacks have you had?
A lot. You know, from growing up, as I mentioned, the cultural thing for starters. You know, people in my community not knowing much about what this thing is that I'm doing.
Yep.
You know, that was the first one. Also, I feel another hurdle was, and it has been, to be fair, for a very long time, is I don't feel being brown, you're as naturally and quickly accepted straight away in this field as maybe other people, right? And the reason why I say that is because I am a big hip hop fan. Hip hop is black music originating from New York, right? I'm a brown boy living in a predominantly like I'm a brown boy playing black music living in a predominantly white country. Now that's that's confusing, bro.
Yeah.
You know, that's very confusing to deal with. And so it's kind of like, I feel like it's similar to the misunderstanding that people have with the whole BLM movement and All Lives Matter. You know what I mean? It's a similar kind of confusion. I'm not trying to compare the magnitude. Like, they completely outweigh each other. I'm not, you know, but the concept of being misunderstood and not getting the same treatment and the same level of maybe respect as other individuals, that's something I feel like I have felt being who I am. So it's taken time and, you know, a lot of kind of effort to kind of break down those barriers and be accepted in that field. Hence why.
When did you feel like you were accepted? Like you walked in the room, and I come from tech, and I walk in tech rooms, and the last 10 years, I didn't see nobody that looked like me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until after, I would say, the pandemic, I started realizing, like, no, I belong in these rooms.
Yeah.
I belong in these conversations.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to look like you or look like you. Like, I can still have these same conversations and still have my hip hop swag, but still be a computer techie and talk the language everyone's speaking here. What confidence came from my wife, because she was like, "No, you're smart. You got this. You understand."
That's what you need. You need that kind of partner, bro.
You need that kind of partner. Yeah. So when did you feel like you were in the room and you felt like, you know, I belong here. I'm here too.
I felt like I'm very confident and self-assured in what I'm doing, so I do feel like I belong here.
Yeah.
However, I'd still have those battles and hurdles and convincing, or maybe other people seeing my value, that I do belong here, right? And so, in regards to DJing, I think, and here's some facts for you. So I've DJed it for a very long time in the London's West End, right, which is the heart of the city, in the middle, and so a lot of the big clubs are based there, right? So I built my brand and name in that scene for a long time, and even getting into that scene to be accepted was difficult, to say the least, because the 5 most predominant known DJs all happen to be French, right? Because a lot of the bottle clubs and from Paris and France, they're not too far. Yeah, it's not too far away.
They're not really playing hip hop at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it migrated because there was a lot of house music. Yeah, and so a lot of the DJs, I feel like they had their own rapport in a way, being French, and now there's this Indian dude that comes from another city. I can't speak the language, and whereas a lot of the people in the clubs were also French, right? So it's easier to build rapport with people. That's not taking away from anything of those guys in any kind of way. They're all incredible DJs in their own right. What I'm saying is it's just easier to build rapport with people when you have some kind of commonality. You understand? I didn't have any commonality with anyone in the West End. There wasn't anyone that was of my own kind working in that environment that had any level of power that could really co-sign me in a way or vouch for me, you know. So that was one element of me I couldn't use as an anchor to get me work. Right? It was something that I'm gonna have to take an L on that. I don't have, you know, a club that's full of Indian waiters that are in the staff meeting saying, "Oh, let's get Fricktion to play." I don't have that. Right? Whereas there may be another club that was mostly French people that would then co-sign the French DJs. So that for me, that was a massive hurdle, just breaking past that. And, you know, I had a conversation with a DJ that was very prominent in the scene for a number of years, still is. His name's DJ Charles Prince. And I was talking to him on the phone once, and he actually admitted it to me on the phone. And he said to me, "Bro, you know, what you're saying to me in regards to those hurdles, they're true." Because he said, "Look, I didn't experience that. I pretty much got a lot of those gigs a lot easier." And I said, "I didn't. For me, it was a massive struggle because I was living in Birmingham. So I'm traveling 1,000 miles a week to my gigs on the off chance or hope that I'm going to get an opportunity to build my name in London." So it was kind of like that. In the beginning, it's really slow, and then eventually it starts to compound, you know, and snowball. And ended up becoming to my advantage that, I was the one anomaly in the scene that was a little bit different, that did have a brand. So in a way, maybe I stood out a little bit more in that aspect. Because I was the one brown boy that had...
And at that time, because when I traveled, I heard no hip-hop. I would hear like mostly house, and they would mix some hip hop in there. You know. And so, were you playing house or were you playing hip hop at the time?
Yeah, both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah. Open format. I've always been open format. I've never branded myself as a hip hop DJ. I'm just very good at hip hop, but I'm an open format DJ. I like all kinds of music.
How do you feel that transition? I like it now. When I travel, I can go hear some rap music. Japan, they're crazy with the rap music. Like I've heard songs that I didn't even hear in the States.
Crazy,
and so they're on it. But how do you feel about the transition
between
this the internet house being that international music and now hip hop kind of rising? You got guys like Lil Yachty's last album to me was like amazing. You know, it wasn't a hip hop album, but it was. You know, and Drake tried his house thing. You know, but I see now rap artists kind of bringing it together, transitioning it. So, because you've been in the game, we're talking about 20 years now. You know, so how have you seen the transition, and how do you like the transition?
Well, the thing is, man, I came from the era of listening to real rap. Actually, I don't want to use the word real. That's wrong of me. I came from the era of the golden rap era. Golden's a better word to use, because who am I to say what's real and not now, right? But at that time, I came from the Mobb Deep Shook Ones era. I came from the later on Super Thug, Noriega, Neptune's era. When I'm listening to that, and I'm used to growing up listening to that, it's harder to maybe accept different sounds growing up because you become set in your ways. But I'm an open-minded guy. So, you know, I'm not that old dude that's like, yo, no, it's all about DJ Premier, like, you know. So I'm all for it, man. I've got a good ear. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. I'm a very honest person in that way.
And so with that, how do you approach collaboration and teamwork?
I mean,
collaborate with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So how do you approach that with someone already probably assuming what you're going to play or say? Like, how has that worked with you?
Easy, because I'm like the easiest person to work with. I'm very much like, you know, if I'm collaborating with someone and they've got strengths, I'll take a back seat and don't try and step on their toes on things that they're better than me, and vice versa. And that's the whole point of collaboration. You collaborate in a way where you're like, yo, you outweigh my strengths and vice versa.
So speaking on collaboration, how have you maintained relationships since you've started?
as in just general relationships.
Wherever you want to go.
Maintain relationships with people in the industry or
in the industry.
Yeah, I think I've always been pretty good at establishing and maintaining relationships.
Yeah.
You know, so there's relationships I've still got at this point with people that I met 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And they've seen the progression.
Yeah.
Especially in Los Angeles.
Yep.
Because I've got real good relationships with a lot of DJs and people over there.
And you built those relationships organically. It sounds like the way you had to get over the hump here with DJs. You took that same formula and introduced it to LA, and it's paid off for you.
Yeah, like I knew like those guys like Just Incredible years ago.
Yeah.
Sour Milk, Tendaji, like a lot of the LA DJs I knew early on.
Yeah.
And then to see them blow up,
it's
like, yo, I was friends with them before, so it's so good to see their progression, and you can see what they did too. Yeah. And you can get inspired by it.
Yeah. Nah, you because LA is a very political place.
Yeah, I know that.
So it's you're right. You see what they've done and been able to climb and grow in that. I know you were just in LA at the Grammys.
Yeah.
How was that?
I didn't go to the Grammys.
Well, you were in LA during
Grammy weekend. Yeah, it was amazing because I was in a lot of sessions, and as I mentioned earlier on in the convo, music production is like my passion. That's my passion. DJing I love as well, but it started off as a hobby.
Yeah.
But the music production is something that I was really always like. That's what I felt like was my calling.
Yeah.
And so I was over there making a lot of music and in sessions and stuff.
Yeah. That's dope.
So carry on.
I was gonna say, who are some of your favorite artists you've been able to work with?
Wow. I worked with RZA from Wu-Tang, and that was incredible.
Nice.
Yeah, that was phenomenal working with him and seeing his process.
Yeah.
Who else do I really enjoy working with? At the moment, there's an artist called Young Dave that I work with.
Yeah.
And I helped nurture him and get him signed.
Yeah.
And so he's someone that I really enjoy working with as well.
Nice. Yeah. And so you worked with him on the production side of things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's an incredible artist, man.
Yeah. I definitely want to listen to him. What do you feel like your style is as a producer?
I don't know if I have a style. Like I just make music.
Yeah.
And I don't try and box myself into one specific style. It's kind of like,
were you one of the Fruity Loops bootleggers?
Nah, I didn't start on Fruity Loops. I started on acid.
Oh wow! Yeah. I remember that one.
I started on acid, and to be fair, for the time, I feel like it was ahead of its time because of the things you could do in acid.
Yeah.
You can do in Ableton now, and so and I was doing like Cubase, and then I was on Fruity Loops for a little while. I was on Logic, and now I'm on Ableton. So when I went to university, I studied music.
Got it.
And then I stayed in London and studied again for another 2 years, music, tech. So a lot of the academic stuff growing up was around music.
Yeah.
Even though my dad wanted me to do something different, I chose to go down that path, like studying music,
Yeah, that's a dope place to be in. Some friends of mine got you heard of the 1500 Nothing Academy?
Yeah, like Rance and those guys, Mars. Yeah,
they definitely got some stuff. I mean, it came late, and I feel like it should have been something in LA, especially when you have so many artists coming from there.
Yeah,
and that being an outlet. The states. I've learned recently, Canada invest in their artists, other places, they invest in their music. Like the States, they like take it away.
Yeah.
It's like they don't want you to be an artist, they want to take away that music. I myself, I played 6 different instruments.
Oh wow, shit, I didn't even know that, bro.
Yeah, I played 6 instruments, and then I started a production company called Hotbox Entertainment. When I was 17, and I had a studio that a lot of artists that are like doing their thing now would come because I had the equipment in the garage. So they would come to my house and record. Yeah. I didn't know anything. I didn't know about business, but I didn't care about binding people in contracts or any of that. And so people would come to my house, they would do their stuff. And then my mom was like, either you're going to stay here and pay rent or are you gonna go to college?
Yeah.
So I gave my neighbor, shout out to Sid, for a group called Odd Future. I gave my neighbor,
yeah,
Sid,
of course,
I gave her my equipment, and then like a year later, they like blew up.
Oh my days!
Out of nowhere. But I remember
crazy.
giving her, my equipment and just like seeing that transition, and I always say I was tied to music, and then even a lot of DJs have broken at my parties. Like I've been like, come do my party. And so I have so many DJ friends in the States because I'm a fan of music.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person, if you're doing a transition, I already know the next song. Yeah. I hear it, I know the BPM, I know what's going on behind it. So that's kind of stuff, it excites me, but I did choose the academic side, the corporate side of things.
Fair enough, man. I mean, that's what makes the world go round, bro. 9 to 5,
Yeah. So, but I was able to, I realized my lane was to be the bridge from the corporate side to the non-corporate side.
Yeah.
Just be that middle ground and the communication, that middle ground. So I've been able to find a spot in there because it's needed. You need artists on one side, but you need somebody to have that corporate hat on the other side to make the thing go around.
Of course.
So I was blessed to, I remember I had this entertainment company. I wasn't making any money. I would buy my artist t-shirts and CDs and be like, go to your schools to promote it and your colleges.
Yeah.
While you're away, I would go visit them and the stuff would like be in their dorm.
Yeah.
They wouldn't done it. And then one of my buddies was playing in the NFL, American football. And he was like, you're doing all this for artists and not getting paid. He was like, we're speaking about first big check. He was like, look, he wrote me a check and was like, I want you to market and manage me only.
Yeah.
He wrote me a check and I was like, cool. Like, I'll definitely do that. And then since then, I just got away from it, And
you found your thing, bro.
I found my thing, yeah. And it really was, a good, transition and lesson. So speaking of that, what are some lessons that you've learned from just all of this into now that you would tell your younger self?
One thing that as you get older, is to be very mindful of your time. Mm. That's something that I'm very particular about. Mm-hmm. Don't waste your time.
Yeah.
If you're sure that you want to do something, just go and do it, but don't and ah about it.
And do it hard too if you're gonna do it.
Yeah, because the thing is, the money comes and goes, and the thing is as well,
time ain't coming back.
You ain't getting your time back.
And
another thing is as well, which I am quite particular about, is maybe I shouldn't have got into one or two relationships which I feel like distracted me, as it does with a lot of men, if I could go back, that maybe I wouldn't have, because I would have been a lot more focused in certain parts of my life, and so those are some of the things I would say that I would say to my younger self. But to be fair, I did go hard, I've been going ham, but obviously you have your doubts and you overthink certain things as well as you grow up. Mm-hmm. And just to know that, things are going to be all right, but just ensure that you're not wasting your time on anything that's not going to be there for you to think about in 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, even speaking of that, because for me, when I've known my wife since I was 15.
Wow, nice.
But we dated 15 and 19 and we broke up. And then we got back together.
That's
and
nice,
I already knew, like, okay, she's the right one.
Yeah, you had a benchmark.
Yeah. And she allowed me to, like, she knows me. So she trusts me in my thinking, in my process, and everything I'm doing. So as me being a man, she understands me coming into my manhood.
Yeah.
Because she knows me as a little boy.
Yeah.
So in now, in choosing relationships, what do you look for and how do you now go forward since you've learned from those past relationships?
I think for me, someone who really gets your vision, your way of thinking, your kind of outlook on what you're trying to do, it needs to be in line, right? It needs to be side by side and in line. And also just, for me, just as long as I don't be stressed out by, I'm just, I like just doing my thing.
Yeah.
And knowing that I've got the support there without being nagged at.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the main thing.
Yeah, like the moment that I feel like I'm being nagged or like any kind of stress.
Yeah.
I like low-key girls.
Yeah.
You know, low-key girls are my favorite type of, that's my type.
Yeah. My wife, low-key. She only got Instagram because of me.
Yeah. Low-key girls, the thing, you know, they're not trying to like constantly beg attention and, you know, they're confident in themselves. They don't feel the need to say or do certain things. And, you know, I find that highly attractive.
Yeah.
You know, it's cute.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And like, I'm glad we were able to do this podcast because we've been DJing like all over. And I've really enjoyed, I've gotten to know you now even through this podcast.
Yeah,
more,
likewise, man.
Which is dope. And I've seen your journey over this time, and you've stayed consistent, you know, you stay solid. You know, as your career grows in a perfect world, where's your career end, or where's your career kind of climb to?
Now, one thing that I've always wanted to do, as I mentioned early on, was produce music.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that I'm very much focused on. And I still DJ a lot as well, but I tend to DJ a lot more spots where I those are spots I want to play at. You know, there was a part in my life where I was DJing because I was trying to make as much money so I could live and also support my parents. You know, because I always wanted to like retire them. You know, and I was able to do that. And so it was, you know, when I was able to do that, I took my foot off the gas to the point where I was very much focused on the things I really wanted to do, which is aimed around music production. And you know, I know I'm a great producer, so you know, it's, if I didn't ever feel as though I had that in me, I probably would have stopped doing it. Yeah. You know, but that's something that I'm very much passionate about.
How do you handle the success? Because some people look back and be like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like,
well, the imposter syndrome and that.
Yeah. How do you handle that?
I've had imposter syndrome. I think a lot of creatives have.
Yeah.
You know, but I feel as though deep down inside, I know I'm meant to be doing this. Yeah. You know, and so if I do get those thoughts, I know it's just a temporary thing. Yeah. And you know, I'm having a moment where that's just, you know, your mind and your body are two different things. Yeah. Right?
You gotta shake it off.
Exactly, you shake it off, and so I'm good at like detaching from and differentiating between the two, and I'm very mindful of the people I have around me. Yeah. You know, I don't have no naysayers around me. I don't have anyone that's gonna put doubts in me. I don't have anyone that's gonna start talking shit in my ear. Like I hate that, and that's why I'm very mindful of the type of girl I have around me, because she's got to have the same kind of mentality where, you know, she's like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. All right, cool, let's get it done. Let's get it done. Yeah. We don't need like, oh, well, how are you going to do that? I don't need to hear that. I was in a relationship that had that and had to get out, you know? So...
Because it makes you second guess yourself.
Yeah, I don't need anyone second guessing myself because I'm not second guessing myself.
Yeah. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'll get back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My kids listen to this song by Katy Perry regularly, and it's always stuck in my head, but the haters gonna hate. The player's going to play. You got to shake it off. Shake it off.
Ain't that Taylor Swift?
Taylor Swift. I messed up. I messed up. Katy Perry is Roar. That's another one that they listen to. On repeat.
They're listening to that commercial vibes, man.
Kids Bop.
Yeah.
Kids Bop. They completely screwed up my algorithm on my Spotify. What Spotify does.
How old are they?
My daughter's 9 and my son's 4.
Yeah.
So he's just now getting into music, but he's listening to soundtrack music. So like everything on Spider-Man he wants to listen to. Everything on those shows he wants to listen to. So he's just now getting into it. So I've introduced him to some sounds, to some songs. Because sonically, there wasn't many things that I can listen to with my kids.
You can't listen to NWA.
I definitely can't listen to that because we take a lot of road trips together.
Yeah.
So
you live in Atlanta now?
I live in Atlanta.
Are you connected to any of the rap scene and that?
No, I got a buddy who's a big DJ out there. Shout out DJ Air. He's been out there for a while. And he's a iHeartRadio DJ. And he actually texts me all the time like, Joe, you moved to Atlanta, you don't come see me anymore. But so we got out of LA. We're farming now, and we're planting our own food. We pretty much
that's amazing.
Are in the outskirts, and like I have completely turn off my social battery.
Yeah.
Where it's just my family. I'm
Yeah,
just dedicated to them and raising them.
Yeah, that's
I'm giving
sweet.
them all my attention. Through COVID and the pandemic, I was, like I said, I was at the club and I was able to leave right before, and everybody that's still there, it's fine, you know. But for me personally, I want to be at home with my kids on Friday night. Like, my turn up is Friday night movie night now.
Sweet.
Like, where I get to pick the movies we want to watch and all that. So it's like, now I've transitioned into that, and I sit home on my back patio, my porch. Like, I'm just like an old man dad now, just coming into that.
You're still young, bro.
Yeah,
we're still young, man.
We are still young. So but it's been amazing because I'm a lot more productive.
Yeah, I feel I am as well. Like, I'm very much at peace in my decisions and what I'm doing right now, because I was playing 7 nights a week for like
that's a lot.
Years. Yeah, for a long time. I was doing like 340 gigs a year for like 6, 7, 8 years. That's even. And you know, as I said, the reasoning behind me doing that got fulfilled. Yeah. You know, the reasoning behind, obviously I loved what I was doing. You know, I enjoyed it, but the reasoning behind it, you know, as I said earlier, there's pressure, you know, and for me, I didn't come from much. Yeah. So for me, I always felt like this pressure from my parents, and then my sister moved to North Carolina at the age of 19 or whatever, no, 23 or something. Yeah. And, you know, she's a single mother of 4 girls, and so she's got pressure to earn and stuff. Mm-hmm. So for me, I felt a lot of pressure on my shoulders to feel like you're a family man, I'm a family man. You know, I grew up with a lot of females around me, you know, aunties, my sister, my mom, and my sister's got 4 girls. And so I got a lot of females around me, so I guess I had a little bit more respect in my eyes for females, you know? Yeah, I had a lot more respect in that way, where I was like, I felt like I had to, you know, look after maybe those people in my life, right? And so that's why I went 10 times harder in doing all of those gigs, so that people are looked after, rather than, you know, I felt like I made a sacrifice, because inside I always wanted to make it as a producer. Obviously I wanted to do well as a DJ, but my dream was, I always wanted to produce big records for artists, right? That was my dream, still is, right? But I felt like I had to put that to the side, because if I did that and I focused on that, part of me would have like regrets inside, feeling like, yo, your mom's like struggling, and your sister's out in America struggling, and you know, my mom don't work and my dad's barely making any money, and you're out here trying to do this producer thing. Like, that's all well and good, but in that moment in time, I made that decision to take a step back and think, look, let me just make sure they're good. They're good, and you know, my sister's good, my dad's good, and then I'm like, yo, I'm going ham, and then going for this production thing. So that's what happened with me, bro, and that's why, like, you know, there's parts of me inside where I feel like, yo, maybe I should have made it as an 18-year-old as a producer, or 19, like you see other producers that are killing at the age of 25, like Murder Beats and that. But going back to the whole comparison thing, I don't compare myself to the point where that was their path and their decision and their circumstances. Not to take away that from their talent, they're incredible, you know? But that for me, their measuring stick. My measuring stick was, okay, these are my circumstances. I don't have no money. I'm not making no money from production. I'm making very little money from DJing. And so the transition really came from me leaving my hometown where I wasn't making anything. And that was the point where I started teaching, by the way. And so, just to make money, and that's when I went back to London and started doing 1,000 miles a week back and forth, trying to break into a scene where initially I didn't feel accepted because of certain cultural aspects of, you know, my life, you know what I mean? And so, like, it was a sacrifice that I made, but now I feel at peace because I made the right decision. They're good. My mum and dad are good. My sister's good. My niece is going to be 16 next week. I'm flying to North Carolina next week to surprise her. She doesn't even know I'm coming. And, you know, there's the twins as well. They're going to be like 14 on the 26th of Feb. 3 days later, it's the oldest is 16. So I'm going to surprise them. And it's like, these things, they make me happy knowing that, look, I don't want to be that guy that when I'm 70, I'm crying and I got regrets. Like, I love my dad, you know, like I'm close to him now, but we only became close in the last 5 years. I had a lot of volatility and a lot of, like, we didn't see eye to eye for many years, but I still see in my dad's eyes, he's got maybe regrets from things when he was 30, like my age and that,
Yeah.
of maybe, you know, not spending any time with me.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any memories with my dad when I was a kid. I have zero memories with him. And so it's made me become self-sufficient and independent.
Yep.
So I don't want to do that. I don't want to end up being, oh, you know what, I'm just focusing on this. And then, God forbid, someone in my family gets ill, my mom passes or something. I don't want that weighing on my head after the success and I'm 70, sitting in a chair.
Yep.
I'm kind of feeling, though, I know people that's what's happening to you, bro.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out, why am I so depressed at 70? I'm like, because you focused on the one thing, thinking everything's cool, and then neglected other parts of your life.
Yep.
And now you're older, you've got the success and the money, and what happens is when you get the success and the money and you're sitting back in your chair, all of the other thoughts come raining down on you, and I don't want that happening to me, bro.
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, if I had a kid, I don't want to do that to my kid. I don't want to be like, yo, I'm so focused on getting this money and trying to get a hit record that I ain't trying to play with him in the park.
Yeah. I turn down money.
Yeah.
With my kids. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'll be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. I know that's going to happen when I have a kid, because I don't have kids. When I have a kid, I'm probably going to make even more sacrifices because there's certain things that I wish I had growing up. Like a lot of people, you know, I'm sure it was the same for you and, you know, friends that you have and friends that I've had that, you know, growing up, there's certain things that we don't have when our parents are always working.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what it was with my parents. Yeah. They were grafters, but we didn't have much. And so for me, I feel like, yo, I've made the right decision in ensuring my family's good.
Yeah.
And I'm setting myself up now. So when my kid is, you know, going to be 3 or 4, I've done well enough to then give him all the attention and love he needs, and learning through seeing my dad's patterns and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And uncle's patterns and all these toxic patterns. Like, I don't want to do that to me or my wife or my kid. Yeah. It's like breaking the cycle, you know?
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling, and especially we're in a new generation where we are the people that are kind of doing it on our own.
Yeah.
And we're teaching our kids differently.
Yeah.
And then supporting that, and I'm seeing that in that, and even with your parents, you know, like I remember when my mom got diagnosed with cancer. I was lucky to have her for 5 years after she got diagnosed. And we were always close. It was never a doubt we weren't close.
Yeah.
So I got even closer. And I'm on Friends now. I'm like, bro, your parents are here.
Yeah.
Like, be with them.
Yeah.
Do for them.
Yeah.
Here. Because when they're going, you're going to regret it. And, you know, it just takes that battery to get charged in your back to do it. And
it takes the maturity and the self-awareness to know that, yo, you gotta grow up.
Yeah.
You know, you need to be a man about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not bitter towards my dad. I'm not like, I don't have any ill feelings towards him over anything in the past, because I've grown up and realized, yo, he didn't get it. His mom died when he was 13.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so he's got a different level of knowing how to deal with things, you know. So I'm not mad at him in any kind. Like, I've got love for my dad. Like, me and him go out to football games. I took him to, you know, a box game, you know. And for him, it's crazy because he's seen celebrities that he's never seen, and he's like, oh, this is alien to me, you know. But he don't know how to deal with it, you know.
I love that, man. Nah, this was a great episode of the Entrepreneur Enthusiast. I came all the way out here to London, and I hit you up. I was like, gotta get you on the pod, talk to you, because, you know, there's people that know you and there's people that don't know you.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I want to introduce you to my audience, because to me, DJs are true entrepreneurs, because you gotta get out and get it. You know? And it's something that people think. A lot of things people think they're easy. They come overnight. Yeah, it takes time. It takes the grind. I feel like we hit on a lot of points besides the DJing, because that's already out there for you. Like, you're good. You're good with that. So I definitely want to hone in on that. And I'm glad we had that pre-conversation for that. So thank you guys for tapping in to the Entrepreneur Enthusiast podcast. I got an episode here, a dope one with DJ Fricktion.
You got it.
And it's been awesome in here in London. We're going to be here a few more days, explore some things.
Dope.
I'm sure to ask them where the food is. Yeah. And go eat. And thank you guys for tuning in.